You know, I don't feel like giving this list a cool intro or a cool transition. Let's just get started. Rock of Ages gets a huge A for effort. There was a lot of talent and ambition put into this movie, and if you like it, I can see why. Unfortunately, it just didn't do it for me. I'm not much of a music guy myself. Usually as long as it's catchy, I'll like it, but this movie was just dull. There are a lot of songs in this movie, and of all of them, I enjoyed maybe 4, but the rest, I just sat there in neutral, completely bored. And it's not like the songs themselves are bad, most of them are classics, nor are they sung badly. They are just no fun. Most of them sound modernized, which is fine for the popular music of today, but a lot of hard rock songs do not transition well. The story is predictable with 2 really boring leads, a small town girl and a city boy. Yeah, we know how this went. A lot of people say Tom Cruise was great, and while he was kind of fun when he was singing, any other time he just acted like he was phoning in his performance. The only character I really liked was the villain, or at least one of them, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who takes being a soccer mom to the extreme and has one of the best songs in the movie.
Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot? Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
Not very funny, dull, and I actually think I would have hated it more if I did have a passion for music. And it's long, really long. Sorry, Rock of Ages, you wanted to rock me like a hurricane or pour some sugar on me? Well, no one like you. My God, did I really write that? Just go to number 4.
What's going on?
Oh, not much, just watching this really shitty movie. Okay, James, I loved V for Vendetta. What the hell happened? The Raven really wants to be like the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies, but forgets why those movies actually worked. A funny and likable lead, interesting, if completely convoluted plots, and a sense of fun. This movie may look nice, but there's very little else to enjoy here. John Cusack does a decent job, but the character he's playing is such a forgettable bore that it is almost impossible to care about him. Not to mention, he barely does anything. It's mostly the lieutenant who solves the mystery. Speaking of the mystery, that was a huge letdown. It starts off kind of interesting, but halfway through, I lost all interest, and when the killer was finally revealed, this was my reaction. Who? The actress playing Poe's wife is awful. I never once thought she was afraid she was going to die, and as a result, this movie just becomes a bore. This may have ended up higher, but I cared so little that I couldn't even hate it enough. The mystery is boring, the characters are forgettable, and the ending is a complete letdown. Watch the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies and you'll have a much better time.
You're a girl. I don't fight girls. Perhaps I should reconsider.
When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I thought that it was going to be absolutely horrible. It didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought it would be. It wasn't unwatchable or maybe want to kill puppies with my shoes. It was just unfunny. I did not laugh once at the dwarves. The prince was annoying. Snow White was bland as, well, snow. The only 2 characters that managed to make me chuckle were Julia Roberts and Nathan Lane, and even then it was only from time to time. The way the movie uses colors is kinda cool, but the action scenes and set designs look so fake that it doesn't matter. It's generic for the most part, the characters aren't interesting, some scenes don't make any sense, there aren't many laughs to be had, and it is just a bore. Snow White and a Huntsman was the other Snow White movie that came out this year, and it was a lot better. It wasn't perfect, but at least it was more fun than this. And if you want to let your kids watch a Snow White movie that's made for them, Show them the animated Disney movie. It's a lot better. Alright, we got a lot of found footage movies this year, both in theaters and direct-to-video. And I think the reason most people are hating on them is because of those direct-to-video movies. Area 407 was so bad that I couldn't even finish it, and Alien Origin has not only managed to become the worst asylum movie and the worst found footage movie ever made, but one of the worst movies I have ever seen. But in terms of theatrical releases, I loved Chronicle, I loved VHS. That doesn't count, although it was good. I even kinda liked the much hated Project X. And while I still haven't seen Paranormal Activity 4, I still really want to, despite the negative reviews. But even if Paranormal Activity 4 sucks, I seriously doubt it could be worse than this. Well, that was boring. Seeing a pattern? But even though all the previous movies were boring, none of them made me want to just stop watching more than this. There are no good scares. There's very little atmosphere. The acting is bad. It doesn't use the found footage gimmick well at all. And it's just so boring. It's not even unintentionally funny. The only scene I found myself kind of liking was the exorcism scene. The rest of it, I barely can even remember. Now, how about that ending? To be honest, the ending had already been spoiled for me before I saw the movie, so it didn't infuriate me like it would have if I didn't know, but it was bad. Really, really bad. So while there are still some direct-to-video found footage movies that are worse, I can tell you that this is the worst theatrically released found footage movie I have ever seen.
And that you let her die.
Power, Lincoln. Real power.
Now some people have a director whose style they just can't stand. For some people it's Michael Bay, for some people it's Guy Ritchie. I bet for some people it might even be Steven Spielberg. But as for me, I fucking hate Timur Bekmambetov. His style pisses me off. His last movie, Wanted, is one of my most hated movies of all time. Do you want to see an action scene directed by Timur Bekmambetov? Here you go. Now add a bunch of badly done, overly produced CGI, and congratulations, you have an action scene directed by Timur Bekmambetov. But even if you like his style, it doesn't work with the tone of the movie, which for the most part is played completely straight. Yes, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is played straight. Hell, Spielberg's Lincoln had more humorous moments. Yes, the drama about Lincoln actually had more comedic elements in it than Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. How? How is that possible? I never read the book. Maybe that worked in print form, but in movie form, it just drags the movie down. The action is boring, the villain is forgettable, the vampires are idiots, the CGI is terrible. It just doesn't work as an action movie, especially with Bekmambetov's direction. Lincoln and Mary Todd have no chemistry. The only character I kind of liked was Anthony Mackie. Everybody else is completely wasted. Oh, and for a movie called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, you don't see Abraham Lincoln, you know, the guy we all recognize with the beard and the hat, fighting vampires a lot. The only time that the Lincoln we all recognize actually fights is in the last half hour. And while that scene on the train was by far the best part of the movie, Anthony Mackie actually does most of the work. So yeah, this movie was pretty boring, somewhat due to Timur's direction, but to be fair, he isn't the only one at fault here. The writer who decided to play this movie straight deserves equal part of the blame. So those are my picks for the 5 worst movies of 2012. What are your worst? And stay tuned next time for my best. Bye.
I just met you.
But
Here's my number.
maybe
It's hard at you, baby.
Wait, here's my number.
Call me.
Hey.
Met you at
Here's my number.
Call me.
Maybe.
yeah, big boys.
But
Number. So call me.
Baby.